Learning to meditate, it's a little bit hard, and it certainly can be boring. It's a little like trying to thread a needle. There's no simple way to do it. You just have to carefully do it. It's something that you learn how to do. It's the same with meditation, in that in the beginning we have to learn to focus and concentrate. And often it's the breath that we're concentrating on. But here's the problem. If we go off and sit on a cushion in our meditation area in a corner of our house or whatever, the whole idea of just sitting and focusing on your breath is not something that's common. It's not something that we're used to. Of course, it eventually works. But in the meantime, there's a strong chance that we'll just feel silly, or we won't be able to get into it, and we'll just kind of give up and abandon even trying. There's an alternative that I've found that's at least worth hearing out. If you try to mix your practice, your meditation practice, with something that you're already doing and already know that requires concentration and focus, things can go a lot easier. At least that's what I found out. Now, it came as kind of a revelation to me when the Tibetan Lama, the Tibetan Dharma teacher that I have worked with for some 30 years, pointed out to a group of us that sitting in front of a computer was a good way to learn some of the basics of meditation. It got my attention because as a systems programmer, I sit in front of a computer a lot, certainly more than is healthy for me. So you can imagine that I was all ears. Now, chances are that most of us have already learned through our life to concentrate in some area of our life. All you have to do is figure out what that area is, and you're halfway there. Plus, with any luck, you also like the area in which you do concentrate, or at least have learned to be patient with. I've got to turn off this vent. And start up again. You like the area in which you do concentrate, or at least have learned to be patient with it. So anyway, you're already somewhat of an expert at meditating. Now, for me, it was programming a computer, because it takes attention, it takes concentration, it takes discipline. And rather than the few minutes, maybe a half an hour, very rarely an hour, that I managed to squeeze out of my daily life to do meditation practice, often none, with computer programming, I was often gladly doing huge amounts, 8-10 hours a day, and maybe not having a great time of it, but certainly having an okay time of it, enjoying it, and learning. So that, my friend, something like 8 hours a day, 6 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, that's real practice time. It's the kind of time that we need to develop a solid meditation practice, but we're not likely to do. As I used to tell myself, Michael, you're never going to get to heaven the way you are by going to church once a week, like on Sunday, for an hour. It just won't work. It's going to take a lot more than that to save a soul like me. Well, anyway, there you have it. I was already an expert at holding my body still when programming, focusing my mind on the programming, and then keeping it focused for long periods of time. That's the essence of the habit that we need for meditation. So how is that different from focusing on the breath? It really isn't. Focus is focus. Concentration is concentration. Yet you might say, programming, like that's not spiritual, right? Well, what's spiritual? The idea of spirituality and a bus ticket will get you a ride, as they say. You've all heard of books like Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. There's no subject that's not spiritual, and there's no subject that you can't mix your mind with and practice meditation, although I will admit some are probably easier than others. So don't get me wrong. Am I telling you to give up sitting on the cushion, some formal meditation? No, not at all. Keep it up. But you might want to begin supplementing your formal meditation with some area of your life where you already have learned to focus and concentrate. When you find that area, you can turn it into great meditation practice. And it's easy. Here's the idea. Since you've already mastered the hard part is learning to focus and to concentrate. And you don't know how to concentrate on your mind, right? This is totally new. But you already have learned to focus in some area in your life where you can place your attention, you can concentrate, and you can do whatever the job that's done, whatever the job that is. You can just practice letting your mind rest in your daily work, and in any daily work that requires focus and concentration. As you tense up with focus, be aware of that. I'm talking about your daily work or sitting on the cushion, and just allow the mind to relax and rest. As the old saying goes, relax as it is. Just be aware. Now you want to hold your attention fixed on whatever you are concentrating on, but you also need to let the mind rest. This too is just practice, but here you are establishing a habit of allowing the mind to rest in the awareness of what you are already doing. This is all part of meditation, and the best part of it is that if you've been concentrating with focus on some area of your life, like for a long time, for years, you've already built a solid habit that's identical to practicing meditation. The practice of meditation, the habit, is just rote habit, like learning to type on a typewriter or learning to play the guitar. All you have to do is realize this, become aware of it, and then make this a conscious practice. You're spending the time anyway. You might as well add this to it and then actually accomplish something along the line of practicing meditation. Because meditation practice is just that. It's only practicing. It's not meditating. It's learning the habit or the discipline of focusing the mind. Practice is never meditation. Even practicing meditation, only meditation is meditation. It's what we do when we're done practicing. We learn how we just meditate. So meditation practice, or any other kind of practice that you can do during the day, is like the scaffolding we use to learn the habit of meditation. But once we learn how to meditate, we stop practicing and we just meditate. We sit still or whatever, but we are meditating rather than practicing meditation. No more trying, no more effort. We make the effort to learn the habit. Once we have the habit of allowing our mind to rest, then we just let the mind rest. That's what's called meditating. So just in summary, chances are that you may already be doing something like meditation and are just not aware of it, at least the concentration and focusing part of meditation. So become aware of it. Do it consciously and begin to mix your mind training with whatever you already know how to concentrate on. And we could ask, what type of activities would be right for this? I can start off by saying there's no activity that's wrong for mixing your mind training with. It could be as simple as running the laundry, putting out the garbage, doing the bills, taking a shower, or it could be more of a concentrated work like fishermen who like tie flies very, very carefully, or chess players who are very careful. You name it. It's best if we can find some area of activity where we already really have to focus. And we've been doing it for such a long time that it's a habit. And it's easier if it's an activity that takes some real time. So we have time to settle into it. So look around you, look in your life, and see what requires you to really be present and focused. And start with that. It could be whatever you are really good at, or whatever that you love to do. For instance, I totally mix my mind and my practice with photography. And there are more advanced ways to mix the mind, of course. There are all kinds of advanced forms of meditation. Ultimately, one mixes the mind with the mind of one's teacher. If you're studying with the teacher like I am, because the teacher's mind is open like ours is not. But for starters, find something that you're already familiar with and go from there. So I think that's the basic idea. In the meantime, here are a couple poems that are meant to be fun. The first is about trying too hard to meditate, which is something that I've done a lot of. I'm a real expert at that. It's called Testing the Rest. Learning to rest the mind really puts my practice to the test. So sometimes I just need to take a break and simply get some rest. That's one poem. The second poem is about learning to let the mind rest. It's called The Rest of the Mind. You cannot rest the mind, but you can allow the mind to rest. Just let go and don't mind the rest. Anyway, that's just some fun.